There is finally a new Mercedes SL on the market, and in this video we're going to talk about the spec and tech, and of course I'm going to let you know what I think about this design. There are a few things that I'm really excited about, and then there are a few things that I'm not so sure of. It will be available as either the SL55 or the SL63 right from the get-go, both powered by a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. The previous twin-turbo V6 is no more, which is a pretty interesting decision. Keeping the V8s and canceling the V6 is a pretty unusual but very welcome initiative in today's world, specifically when we're talking about the new SL. This SL is also all-wheel drive for the first time ever. You'll get the AMG's 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive as standard on both the SL55 and the SL63. The V8 in the SL55 makes 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque, while the big brother SL63 puts out 577 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque, and they are both linked to a 9-speed AMG automatic transmission with launch control. Mercedes says that the SL55 will do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, and that drops to 3.5 seconds for the SL63. Let's talk about the wheels here, because as we know, it's an important part of the stance of a car, and more so when we're talking about roadsters, convertibles, and sports cars like the SL here. So both versions right here are fitted with 20 by 9-inch front and 20 by 11.5-inch rear wheels. However, you do have the option to put the 21-inch wheels here on both of these SLs. The SL55 can be had with a chrome package or an AMG night package, and you know me, I would definitely go for the night package here, since I'm not a fan of chrome on any car unless it's a muscle car from the 60s or 70s. The SL63 comes with an AMG exterior carbon fiber package and an AMG aerodynamics package, which includes active aero elements. However, all SLs feature an active rear spoiler. I've always been a fan of the Panamericana grille because it's the throwback to the 30s, 40s, and 50s Mercedes' design, and I think it really suits the new SL here. However, I am going to change a little bit in the grille and also the headlights when we go into the redesign. I'm going to redesign both the front and the rear in this video. The front overall has a clear connection to the AMG GT. However, that model is set for a refresh pretty soon, which will make them look less alike according to Mercedes. One of my favorite features on the new SL is the classic retractable soft top, which was missing in the past 2 generations of the SL. The hard top, yeah, it might be convenient, it might fit some other convertibles, smaller ones perhaps, but I was never really a fan of having a hard top convertible for the SL. The soft top feels more like it's stylish and it's classy, and it also weighs 46 pounds less than the previous hard top, which is pretty significant. On the inside, you'll find a digital instrument cluster and a large center touchscreen similar to the ones you find in the new S-Class. So it's not one of these connected screens like we have on a lot of Mercedes these days, and I really like this approach better when you have separate cluster from the center screen in the middle. And a great feature of this 11.9-inch portrait-oriented center display is that it's adjustable now, which makes it a lot easier to find a good angle if you've ever driven a convertible or something like that, or with a big sunroof, when you have the sun shining right on to the display and you can't see anything. Well, this is adjustable, so you can find an angle where you have good vision of the screen. The SL65 won't be the king of the SL. Thought it would be, but it's not, since there will be an AMG e-Performance plug-in hybrid version coming a little later, and this will be an absolute beast of an SL. This adds an electric motor to the 4-liter V8, and in total combined it will put out a massive 804 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. Just gonna be a fantastic SL, and I can't wait to see what kind of styling features it's gonna do to separate the hybrid from SL55 and the SL63. Pricing hasn't yet been set for the 2022 Mercedes SL, but a good guess is that the SL55 is probably gonna start right under $100,000, and if you want to go for the SL63, you will have to push in $20,000 more, so around $120,000 for SL63, and they will both go on sale this spring 2022. Now let's go into Photoshop here. Let's talk about this design here. So let's start with the front view. So here's the thing. If we look at the proportions of this SL, I really like the proportions. It's a beautiful sculpture of a car, and it's suitable for the SL. We have this very short windscreen right here. As you can see, it doesn't stick up a lot at all, which is typical SL design. Have it be very short with the A-pillars right here, and a very raked design as well. And then we have this long hood hood, which if you look at it from a side view, it doesn't really look that long anymore. It's a little shorter. I wish it was a little longer, similar to the AMG GT. Just have that be a convertible and a little beefier AMG GT, but at the same time have the hood be a little longer than what it is right here. And I'm going to show you that more when we look at this car from a straight side view. Other than that, we have the front graphics, which are new, similar to what we've seen now recently in the, I think the CLS has similar headlights like these. I'm not really a fan of these headlights because they look like they're just being cut a triangle and then they're smacked onto the face, and it's very sharp. Problem that I have with this specific headlight right here onto this specific car is that if we look at the corners here, very sharp corners everywhere. Sharp corner there, sharp corner here, sharp corner here. And let's have a look at the other graphics that we have in the front end. Does it clash with the grille? Does it clash with the lower intakes of the car? Do they have similar corners like the headlights? And the problem is that they don't. If you look at the grille here, you have beautiful soft corners in each and every single corner here of the grille. The same goes for this intake right here. There is not one single sharp edge here. And then when you look at the headlights, all of a sudden they just decided to make it super sharp, and it clashes really hard with the rest of the graphics in the front end. That's one thing that I want to change in the redesign when we get to that part. Let's talk about the wheels here. These are the 21-inch optional wheels, and I really like the way they sit in this car. In the rear, I'm probably not gonna be able to help myself. I'm gonna have to make it a little bigger and just push it out just a little bit because this gap right here is a little too big for my taste. And I would keep the wheels on this car. If I bought this SL, I would keep the wheels. I would just fiddle around a little, maybe lower it half an inch and just push it out half an inch as well, just to have the rear tire fit perfectly, in my opinion, in the rear fender. It's still a very good fitment from factory here, don't get me wrong, but I think it could be done better if it was my SL, of course. And then overall, the styling of Mercedes these days, very soft. We don't have a single sharp line up here anywhere in the shoulder line, but we do have one line right here at the bottom, which I think works. We don't always have to have a very sharp shoulder line in every single car. Some cars actually benefit by not having it and brings attention to other lines in the design, and just having one sharp line, this is gonna get all the attention when you look at this in a correct light, and you just see a soft transition between the shades of red, and then you come down here and you're gonna see a sharp transition from this part right here to this part, and that's gonna create a nice looking base of this design no matter what type of angle you're looking at it from. Quick little detail, I'm also a fan of the blacked out A-pillars here. It looks really good, and it takes away the weight from those features, and it makes the car look like the weight is sitting lower than it actually is if we were to have these red, for example. Let's quickly have a look at the side view here. This is probably the best view of the new SL. I really like the design, and the proportions are just beautiful, specifically with these 21-inch wheels. It looks planted, it looks really nice, but at the same time, look at the clash here with this sharp headlight right here, just a triangle that sits in this beautiful surfacing that's otherwise very soft and gentle, and then you have these very sharp front headlights and taillights that kind of clashes with everything else that goes on in the car. That still kind of works, but it just doesn't work for an SL. So those are the few details that we're going to change in the redesign in just a minute. But I want to show you the hood here. It could probably be a little bit longer than this. We have it right here starting from the A-pillar. It is still a very long hood. If we divide these into boxes, as you can see, the hood really takes up the most space, and that's all that matters really to have it be a proper roadster. A proper SL needs to have a long, powerful hood, but I wish we could have it to maybe remove parts of the back seats, because no one is ever gonna use them anyway, and just move the A-pillar back maybe a couple of inches or something like that. So let's have a look at the rear view here, and this is similar to the front view. I really like the overall shape. It's a beautiful looking car, but is it a beautiful looking SL? Because the SL is very, very special to me. The SL R129 was the car that made me fall in love with car design. It was the R129. I remember I was maybe 16, 17 years old, and I was going to this gym just outside of Stockholm, and the gym owner had a beautiful SL 500 R129, a late model. So it had the white indicators in the front. It had the monoblock AMG wheels, and it just sat outside there. And as I was working out, I was looking at the SL500, and it just motivated me to work harder because I wanted to one day afford one of those. So the SL R129 is just a special car to me. The SL overall, I think the SL R129 is the last one that was really a magical SL that had that essence of what I think an SL should be. It should stand out from the rest of the lineup. It should just be a special car, and this to me is not special enough. The problem that I have with this package right here and this shape specifically right here in the rear end, I'm gonna show you something. If we were to remove these graphic features here, which is the taillights, which is the same thing here, very sharp in the rear end, in an ocean of softness, a rock formation in a very calm sea, it really clashes with the overall graphics, rest of the graphics of the rear end. But what if, let me show you what happens if we were to remove this and put Porsche lights here, and we zoom in here, we focus on this. This could definitely be a Porsche 911 or a new Porsche convertible or something like that. The reason for that is because look at the slope that we have here on the Mercedes SL. It's way too slopey, at least for my taste, to be an SL. It could be any other Mercedes. It's fine if it could be an SLK or something like that, but we're talking about a special model here, the SL. It needs to have more structure in the rear end, in my opinion. So that's what I'm gonna change. I wanna have this stick out more back, further back here, and create more of a horizontal ending right here while keeping the graphics here. We can play around and try to keep that. I think those graphics are gonna fit the SL better when we have more of a squarish tail, because that means that we have some sort of sharpness in the rear end that isn't just the tail light. And same thing in the front end, where I'm gonna redesign the headlight and the grille as well. But other than that, I mean, just look at this car. You can't deny that it's a beautiful looking machine. The only problem that I have is that to me it just doesn't feel like an SL. But maybe I'm just old school, maybe I'm just stuck in the past or whatever. But to me, I want to see what we can do with this, have some fun, check out how these redesigns are going to turn out. For me, one of the best looking Mercedes in recent years is the Mercedes C63 AMG, the coupe version, the two-door version. I think the front end of that, it really managed to emphasize or capture the power in the C63 compared to just a regular C-Class. It is wider, and the grille, the Panamericana grille, looks very, very good in the C-Class, and overall it's just a beautiful front end. So I want to take inspiration from the C-Class C63 AMG when we redesign the front end here. These are going to be very quick redesigns. It's not going to be very substantial or something like that. It's just an experiment, mostly for my own sake, to see what we can do with the front end here. One thing I do like about the grille on some cars, for example, the green machine from hell or whatever it's called, the AMG GT-R, I think that's what it's called. I think the grille there, when it's upside down, it suits that specific car. The reason being because it's a very, very aggressive car. It's green, it feels angry, you want to have a frowning grille. When it comes to the SL, when they designed the R129 SL, the point was to take away the aggressive and make it look elegant, graceful, and classy. So instead of having an inverted grille here, I want to have it be almost like a smiling grille like we have on the previous C-Class, had that, and with the C63 as well. So what I'm going to do is flip the grille here and make the headlights, now the end of the headlight, follow the same upward angle like we have from the grille, and not go like this in the intersection between the grille and the headlights. So I want to have them be more elegant and graceful, and not so frowny and not so aggressive. I don't think that's the right attributes for an SL. It's the right attributes for an AMG GT, as I said, but for an SL, it's a special car. I want to have it be more elegant and graceful rather than aggressive and angry. The rear end is a little bit trickier for me to figure out what exactly I want to do with it, because I don't want to have this slope, the Porsche 911 slope in the rear end, but at the same time, I'm not sure how the graphics are gonna work if we create more of an edge in the rear end. I'm not 100% sure about the redesign in the rear end. However, I am gonna try and figure out and see what we can come up with here to remove this Porsche 911 design in the rear end and have it be more of a stately rear end with more of an upright tail and a horizontal boot. And then I want to create almost like a sharp corner there, as I said, that will work better with the graphics that we have here. But it's a tricky angle for this redesign, and I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with the redesign or not. Anyway, I'm just gonna throw it in here in the video, and you can let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Overall, I think it's a great looking car, but as I said, for an SL, it needs to be graceful instead of aggressive. It needs to be elegant instead of angry, and I think that's where they missed the mark here with the new SL. But as always, I'm looking forward to seeing this out on the streets, and I'm sure my perception of it is going to change just like that when I see it in real life. That's usually what happens. I'm just having fun here in Photoshop, and this was no different.